Hi, my name is Christine Weber, and I am the third through eighth instructional coach.
My name is Catherine Roth. I am the seventh grade ELA teacher.
So the rollout for the district's EFS program started in January 2022, and the rollout was different depending on what buildings or grade levels, but we were trying to keep it as consistent as possible. This included grades 2 through 8. And as a lot of parents noticed this year, especially, but starting last year, students were given supplies to help begin the EFS program. So they received a assignment notebook, planner, agenda, and then different folders and a pencil case just to get them started. This year, some of the grade levels brought their own binders. So really working on keeping it as consistent as possible throughout the district. Um, so last year in the intermediate school, we focused a lot on goal setting and materials management, which you can see are two of the categories of the scope and sequence for the EFS program. This specifically focused on setting up materials, what is a SMART goal, so how and why it's important to set a goal and then be able to measure it, following through with those goals. And for the materials management, it was mostly keeping it clean, checking in, making sure that we didn't do it one week and then forget about it for the rest of the year. So those were the main focuses of the intermediate school. I know Ms. Roth will talk a little bit more in detail about how the middle school went and took those steps to the next level. Let's see.
Okay, so at the middle school level, we really encourage students to be using their assignment notebook or their planners daily. Even if they do not have homework, they really need to get into the consistency, the consistent pattern of constantly writing none. Perhaps in first period, they did not have homework, so they should be writing no homework or none across their planner. This way, when they go home and they're looking through all 9 of their classes or however many periods they have in a day, 7 academics, they're able to quickly see and identify, did I actually finish all the homework in each of those classes? Did I forget to write something? Is that why it was left blank? So teaching our students to go ahead and just write N/whatever, H for no homework, that would really be helpful for kids to visually see that reminder that they have already completed everything for that specific class. In the classroom, teachers are supposed to be, or hopefully are, posting their homework on a visible spot that is always accessible to students. So sure, some of us might be very techie and have it posted virtually, but the idea is that it's also located on the physical whiteboard in the same one spot-ish at the front of the class for every classroom that the students go to. That way they're always able to know exactly where the homework was, even if the teacher was speaking a little too quickly and maybe they're not paying attention. They know where to look to locate where their homework and their assignment is, which will, of course, help them to become more task oriented human beings as well, and trying to make sure that they're hitting everything on their to-do list.
So switching back to the intermediate level and what we focused on last year, it really was keeping the kids organized, making sure they knew where their materials were, and doing that constant clean out, making sure that what they had in their binders was necessary. Any of that extra stuff was being taken home or thrown out if it wasn't needed, and goal setting. So to set up the system, we really worked with our second step lessons, so our social emotional learning program, and kind of built them with each other so that it talked about not only organizing and why that's important, but how to be a learner, where that organization will come into the classroom. So each student was given a binder, agenda, similar as what I said earlier, and this is where we really focused on those different colored subject folders that were consistent across all grade levels. And then each student also had a home folder that would go back and forth. And the goal was that is the only folder or only material that was really going back and forth so that we weren't having binders disappearing and things like that. And being consistent, checking in, and just making sure that the kids were aware of where everything was. Goal setting, the big focuses in the intermediate level was why are goals important, and then how do we know when we've reached our goals. So that was really the focus of last year and continuing to start this year. So continuing into this year, we are going to be continuing building on materials and management and goal setting. So really just building on our 4th and 5th graders now are familiar with the binder protocol and what a planner looks like, how to use it. So just continuing that skill, but introducing our 3rd graders and hopefully our 2nd graders at some point during the year, bringing them into the program and understanding, okay, this is where I write my homework. This is where all my important papers are. Then we're going to start switching to decision making and problem solving. So again, this is going to build off of the social emotional material that we use as a district. And a big one that is going to be the focus of this year is time management and planning. Prioritizing, breaking up the bigger projects, how to utilize non-school time in a healthy and effective way. So starting to really bring those older, not older, but more mature, higher level thinking skills into the intermediate school and teaching them how to build on what they already know.
Now, at the middle school level, we have chosen to kind of change things up this year. Last year, we focused with a different group of students. This year, we're trying to hit all of our students a little bit more globally. So you can kind of see a screenshot here of what the teachers are looking at and how the teachers are structuring things. So for the most part, every teacher, ELA, science, social studies, and math, have one lesson to go teaching each Friday of the month. So for instance, on September 1st, ELA teacher will be teaching specifically how to go about planning things for giving kids their passwords and helping them get set up with the Power School usernames and passwords. And then science teacher will take over and start up on the locker list and a bunch of other things. And then social studies will go ahead and continue with some of the goal writings, and you'll see social studies. Well, you won't see it, but the teachers will be focusing in social studies specifically throughout the course of the year, working on a lot of the goal settings, coming up with a SMART goal and making sure that students are progressing. And then math can go ahead and do some check-ins on binders and progress. And again, we're making sure that students are able to stay focused and organized in each of these areas. So the ELA teachers are kind of taking the technology element of things. The math teachers are taking more like the binders. Science are helping out with grades and lockers, just trying to hit all of our middle schoolers in each of the different content areas, as well as all their different organizational, areas of life to make sure that they're being successful to the best of their abilities in their academic career. Here's an example of their assignment notebooks. So students hopefully have been given all of the different materials here, but this is just what we did last year, where students now have access to the Bell schedule, and it's stapled directly into their assignment notebook. They have access to their Power School schedule where they get to attend all of their different classes, and that's stapled directly into their assignment notebook. They have a little quick cheat sheet as to what they should be writing on their assignment notebook. For instance, N/H would be no homework, and that you are actually supposed to be writing that on each of your different periods you do not have homework, or the days that the district does not have specific class and session those days, no school those days. So again, it's the idea that we're teaching students how to look ahead at the global calendar, like the whole month calendar as seen in that example there, and clearly write which days they do not have school or which days it's somebody's birthday or whatever it is that's coming up, big important days. That way students can see when their long-term projects are due, and maybe it'll even transfer their knowledge as to when they have that travel soccer game on the weekend. Oh, I need to pay attention. There's an upcoming test in this class. I need to make sure I get myself organized. And then on the virtual aspect of things, again, people in general in life, we all struggle with our technology, right? So this kind of a couple different screenshots here are just kind of examples as to how teachers can teach the students how, for instance, you can organize your Google Classrooms into chronological order. To some of us, that comes very naturally. I don't want to look at period 9 first, then period 7, then period 2. I want to see them in chronological order. Period 1, 2, then 6, and so on. To students, first of all, we don't always know that that's an option to take that technology and move things around. But second, students don't always think like that. So sometimes you actually need to be told, let's do this. Much like when you're at home and you're borrowing a tool from your workshop and you don't put it back in the same spot, and then you're struggling to find it later for your next project. So you definitely want to get in the habit of always kind of putting things in order, putting things back where they belong. It's just another reason why executive functioning is so important, that we teach it to our students young. even if we think that it's kind of common knowledge, it might be to you, but it might not be to them and their brain and their style. So then we'll go ahead and teach them how to organize like their Google Drive or their emails or their binders and their lockers, just to make sure that things don't get too jumbled, especially as the year progresses over the course of 9 months. If nobody's checking in on them, well, we all know what their bedrooms might look like. It's going to be chaotic. This is one of the many different ways that some of the different teachers will be checking in on students, whether it be monthly or weekly. Perhaps we will be checking in again on binders, making sure things are in the correct spaces, organizing that Google Drive into subject area folders, archiving documents that you no longer need, bookmarking specific, whatever, emails maybe that you need, filtering your emails that might be like 200,000 emails into different folders, one from the boss, one from a student. Okay, maybe that's the teacher lens of things. But the idea is to have folders virtually as well as physically in your binder to help students be able to progress through their academic career and into adulthood and be a successful individual in whatever field they continue to pursue.
So the next strategy is writing it down, and it might seem very simple and obvious to some of us, and to a student, it might be like, oh, that's the golden ticket. That's what we needed. So, using or writing something down activates that working memory, and helps make the information visible. So whether it's on a note card, signs, sticky note, or just on a list in their notebook, once they can see it, it is in their memory, and it makes it kind of like, okay, I know I have to do it. It's right there, and it helps build on that executive function skill. Make time external. So making time, again, physical, measurable, letting it be visible for the student to or the child to see how much time has passed, how much time is left, whether that's using a clock, timer. Everybody's phone, of course, has some version of a countdown you can do, find fun apps. I know at the intermediate school, we use a lot of different countdown websites, but just letting them see that there is a start and an end time, and okay, I might give you a 15-minute break, but then after that, we need to work for another 10 minutes. So trying to make it a visible thing that the child can see, understand, get a better better point of view on, and understand, okay, I don't have infinite time to do something. Offer rewards. I know that this sometimes can be people lie on different sides of what does a reward mean. In general, it's just giving that motivation, whether some students prefer external motivation. So it's not just, oh, I feel better because this is done. No, they need to know I'm working towards something. So someone who struggles with executive functioning might have trouble motivating themselves. So they need that immediate reward in order to push themselves to do it. That could be a TOCA system, a daily report card, or a daily check-in, but reinforcing long-term goals with short-term rewards helps build that self-motivation. And then also making learning hands-on. This is a big push in our district and all the buildings, but really no child wants to sit there and just have somebody lecture at them for 8 hours. That's just not how they learn. That's not how anybody learns. So putting it in their hands, making the problems physical, whether that's using jelly beans counters, having them model the problem with their classmates, with their siblings, but having them moving. Children are better able to access their nonverbal and verbal working memories when they're being hands-on. So as they are touching the different objects or moving the toys into the right bin, they're actually getting that satisfaction and they're seeing, okay, this is what needs to happen. So it's just another way to activate that memory.
Now, just like adults, I don't know about you guys, but when I want to do a humongous cooking spree, I'm going to line up all my ingredients on the counter so that way things progress and I'm able to speed through things a little bit quicker. Same as when you're building something or you've got a project that you want to work on, you're able to tackle your tasks easier in a much healthier mindset when you have all of the materials in front of you and you're not running all over the house to try to find what it is that you need. So keeping that in mind, our students need the same thing. Having a work zone where your student or your child can work daily and kind of call their own would really be super beneficial for their brains in developing healthy patterns. So that way, again, they're able to be successful in today's world and continue on in their endeavors. Additionally, if you're able to offer your student or your child a desk at home and have all the materials on the desk or nearby the desk, that would be lovely. Perhaps you've got all the pens and pencils and glue sticks and scissors and tape and a timer handy for them. That would be fantastic. If that's not an option and your child is using like the kitchen table where it's a high traffic area, then in that case, perhaps splurging on a what do you call that? A trifold poster that they can set up in front of them. So that way, when their siblings are constantly running past them, maybe that will eliminate some of their visual distractions as others are walking past to, again, just help them stay focused on their work zone.
You know, if I could interject here, Ms.
Yes, absolutely. And with that, it's okay to stop and refuel. So take that break when your student comes home from school, their brain has just been on for what is that, 8 hours of the day? Okay, there's some breaks in there, but still, it's okay to come home and have a snack break, but maybe set that timer for 15 minutes. Allow that brain to just kind of relax for 15 minutes. Sometimes TV is not necessarily a break because your brain is still being stimulated or distracted. or whatever. But again, taking a break is allowed and absolutely encouraged. In order to be the best version of yourself, we all need breaks. We need to breathe deeply. We need to connect with ourselves. We need to do whatever it is that we want to do, or shove our face full of food slowly and calmly, whatever it is that's needed. But it's encouraged to please have your students take breaks. Just maybe set a timer to help.
Yeah, that is.
Speaking of that math assignment, let's say that your student struggles with math and they've been at it for 20 minutes. That's plenty of time. Let them have that break and come back to math later on after they do something enjoyable, like reading their independent novels or their science, whatever it is that they're working on. It's okay to take those breaks and say, you know what, I realize I only got two math problems done in 20 minutes, but my mind is kind of zonking out right now. It's okay to, again, step back and come back to it. It's also okay to get some physical activity, get some exercise. We all know that it boosts our brain, body, mind, and spirit. It's fantastic at engaging a child's mind and getting it active in a different way, allowing that oxygen to flow. And again, establishing some type of routine, whether it be with the physical exercises, stopping throughout, 30 minutes of doing your homework, stopping and going outside for a walk, coming back to the homework, stepping outside and walking the dog for a walk, taking the dog for a walk and coming back to the homework, whatever it is, to hopefully make homework less tedious and painful, but more enjoyable. And tackling it in increments. So that way, again, nobody's being burnt out. Being physical is one of the best things for all of us. So.
Right.
Additionally, those with executive functioning problems do struggle to show what it is that they know. So again, to you as the parent, things might come naturally. Why can't you remember to put your name on the paper? But others to other people, to other brains, to maybe your child, that might not come as naturally. So please show compassion. Although you guys might be genetically related or not, people's brains are all wired differently. So to show that you are patient and that we all make mistakes and that it's important for all of us to understand what it is that went wrong can help any person grow and adapt and learn from their mistakes. So just be as compassionate as you can and patient. I know it can be really challenging, especially if you're at it every day for a week and your kiddo is still struggling on whatever the same one assignment is or subject area. Be patient. The more patient you are, the more your child absorbs. Nobody's going to learn in a hostile or upsetting environment. So please just be as patient as possible.
From your input here, we definitely take that and we use that to modify our future executive functioning plans. So and also presentation plans. So if you could please fill that out. This is our first attempt at a hybrid program here. So we are offering it here at the Sparkle Center. And it looks as though we'll be attempting this again. We're going to get better as it goes along here. So we thank you very much here for your time, and thank you for coming in and trying to, attempting to work, at work and find better ways to kind of work with your kids. So thank you very much. Take care and be on the lookout for our next Parent University here coming up in a couple weeks. Thank you.